Shanti Shanti Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Stapakaya cha dharmasya Sarvadharma Swarupine Stapakaya cha dharmasya Sarvadharma Swarupine Avatara Varishtaya Ramakrishna Te Namah. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorama mritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us offer our prayers to Sri Ramakrishna. Let us bow down to him, the embodiment of all religions, the Supreme God Incarnate. Let us pray to him to lead us from the unreal to the real, to lead us from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. We have been discussing some of the ideas taken from the Gospel. Today's subject I have chosen: how to overcome fear. Fear is very dangerous. It weakens our system. We will lose self-confidence on account of fear. Fear has got a lot of negative forces acting upon us. So it is considered as a disease. No one is exempt from fear. It assails everyone, man or woman, young or old, rich or poor, healthy or otherwise. It comes in all magnitudes, small fears and big ones, passing fears and lasting ones. Every fear not only makes us miserable, but in turn spreads unhappiness to others. Fear distorts our thinking. It confuses our values. It makes us say and do things we regret later. Fear is the hub around which the wheel of human misery revolves. What do we fear and why? Fear is always about the unknown. Familiarity gives us a sense of security. Unfamiliarity makes us feel insecure and so afraid. We are, for instance, afraid in the dark. What's the reason? We do not know against what we may bump and hurt ourselves if we move in the dark. We are apprehensive that in the darkness someone may enter and do us harm. But when we put on the light, the fear vanishes with the darkness. We are able to see things clearly. We know where the table is, where the chair is, and what we have to avoid. We can move about comfortably. The putting on of the light does not change the arrangements in the room in the least, but our understanding of the layout changes. Right understanding has removed fear. So too in life, at every stage, it is ignorance that causes fear. We are nervous in the presence of a stranger. But when we come to know Him better, we are no longer afraid. When we come to know Him better, we are no longer afraid. We do not know how we may fare in a test or an undertaking. But when we actually deal with the test or the undertaking, the fear is not there. So knowing what we are dealing with makes us fearless. We have to face facts squarely. Look at things clearly. We must not be biased or prejudiced in our outlook. We must see things steadily and see them whole. We must not delude ourselves with false hopes. We cannot indeed budget for what will happen in a particular situation. The joy of life consists in meeting the situation confidently. Let things happen as they will. Accept them and go beyond. This is possible only when we have an unshakable faith in an omniscient Almighty in whose hands we are just instruments. We are all actors in a grand drama written and directed by Him. We have to accept His rules and regulations and enjoy acting the particular part allotted to us. Fear comes only when we are conscious of another. When we learn to consider everyone as our own, we shall have nothing and no one to fear. That's why love for all is the panacea for fear. Love and be fearless. The disease of worldliness is the cause of fear. The various objects of enjoyment make man forget God. He will be always in some stress and strain because of worldly occupations. His mind will be constantly bothering about too many things. Sri Ramakrishna says in the Gospel, one may enter the world after attaining discrimination and dispassion. In the ocean of the world, there are 6 alligators, lust, anger, and so forth. But you need not fear the alligators if you smear your body with turmeric before you go into the water. Discrimination and dispassion are the turmeric. Discrimination is the knowledge of what is real and what is unreal. It is a realization that God alone is real and eternal substance, and that all else is unreal, transitory, impermanent. And you must cultivate intense zeal for God. You must feel love for Him and be attracted to Him. The doubts of the mind will not disappear without God's grace. Doubts do not disappear without self-realization. But one need not fear anything if one has received the grace of God. It is rather easy for a child to stumble if he holds his father's hand, but there can be no such fear if the father holds the child's hand. A man doesn't have to suffer anymore if God, in His grace, removes his doubts and reveals Himself to him. But this grace descends upon him only after he has prayed to God with intense yearning of heart and practiced spiritual discipline. The mother feels compassion for her child when she sees him running about breathlessly. She has been hiding herself. Now she appears before the child. But why should God make us run about? Thought Yam. Immediately Sri Ramakrishna said, it is His will that we should run about a little. Then it is great fun. God has created the world in play, as it were. This is called Mahamaya, the great illusion. Therefore one must take refuge in the Divine Mother, the cosmic power itself. It is she who has bound us with the shackles of illusion. The realization of God is possible only when those shackles are severed. The Master continued, one must propitiate the Divine Mother, the primal energy, in order to obtain God's grace. God Himself is Mahamaya, who deludes the world with her illusion and conjures up the magic of creation, preservation, and destruction. She has spread this veil of ignorance before our eyes. We can go into the inner chamber only when she lets us pass through the door. Living outside, we see only outer objects, but not that eternal being, existence, knowledge is absolute. The devotees from Manirampur asked the master how to realize God. Sri Ramakrishna said, you must practice spiritual discipline a little. It will not do simply to say that milk contains butter. You must let the milk set into curd and then churn it. Only then can you get butter from it. Spiritual aspirants must go into solitude now and then. After acquiring love of God in solitude, they may live in the world. If one is wearing a pair of shoes, one can easily walk over thorns. The most important thing is faith. As is man's meditation, so is his feeling of love. As is a man's feeling of love, so is his gain. And faith is the root of all. If one has faith, one has nothing to fear. A devotee asked a question, Sir, is it necessary to have a guru? Sri Ramakrishna said, yes, many need a guru, but a man must have faith in the guru's words. He succeeds in spiritual life by looking on his guru as God himself. Girish asked a question. If a man is so strongly tied in hand and foot, then what is his way? If a man is so strongly tied hand and foot, then what is his way? Sri Ramakrishna answered, he has nothing to fear if God himself as the Guru cuts the chain of Maya. Sri Ramakrishna spoke reassuringly to the devotees. He said to Yam, some think, oh, I am a bound soul, I shall never acquire knowledge and devotion. But if one receives the Guru's grace, one has nothing to fear. Once a tigress attacked a flock of goats. As she sprang on her prey, she gave birth to a cub and died. The cub grew up in the company of the goats. The goats ate grass and the cub followed their example. They bleated, the cub bleated too. Gradually, it grew to be a big tiger. One day another tiger attacked the same flock. It was amazed to see the grass-eating tiger. Running after it, the wild tiger at last seized it, whereupon the grass-eating tiger began to bleat. The wild tiger dragged it to the water and said, look here, look at your face in the water. It is just like mine. Here is a little meat, eat it. Saying this, it thrust some meat into its mouth. But the grass-eating tiger would not swallow it and began to bleat again. Gradually, however, it got the taste for blood and came to relish the meat. Then the wild tiger said, now, you see, there is no difference between you and me. Come along and follow me into the forest. So, there can be no fear if the Guru's grace descends on one. He will let you know who you are and what your real nature is. If the devotee practices spiritual discipline a little, the Guru explains everything to him. Then the disciple understands for himself what is real and what is unreal. God alone is real and the world is illusory. Love of God is the one essential thing, Sri Ramakrishna again said. A true lover of God has nothing to fear, nothing to worry about. He is aware that the Divine Mother knows everything. The cat handles the mouse one way, but its own kitten a very different way. Neighbor asked a question. Sir, must one always live in solitude? Master replied, haven't you seen the trees on the footpath along a street? They are fenced around as long as they are very young. Otherwise cattle destroys them. But there is no longer any need of fences. When their trunks grow thick and strong, then they won't break even if an elephant is tied to them. Just so, there will be no need for you to worry and fear if you make your mind as strong as a thick tree trunk. First of all, try to acquire discrimination. Break the jackfruit open only after you have rubbed your hands with oil. Then its sticky milk won't smear them. The neighbor asked, What is discrimination? Sri Ramakrishna replied, discrimination is a reasoning by which one knows that God alone is real and all else is unreal. Real means eternal and unreal means impermanent. He who has acquired discrimination knows that God is the only substance and all else is non-existent. With the awakening of this spirit of discrimination, a man wants to know God. On the contrary, if a man loves the unreal, such things as creature comforts, name, fame and wealth, then he doesn't want to know God, who is of the very nature of reality. Through discrimination between the real and the unreal, one seeks to know God. Sri Ramakrishna sang a song. What a delirious fever is this that I suffer from, O mother. Thy grace is my only cure. False pride is a fever that racks my wasted form. I and mine are my cry. Oh, what a wicked delusion. My quenchless thirst for wealth and friends is never ceasing. How then shall I sustain my life? Talk about things unreal. This is my wretched delirium, and I indulge in it always. O giver of all good fortune, my eyes in seeming sleep are closed. My stomach is filled with the vile worms of cruelty. Alas, I wander about, absorbed in unmeaning deeds. Even for thy holy name I have no taste, O mother. I doubt that I shall ever be cured of this malady. Then the master said, even for thy holy name I have no taste. A typhoid patient has very little chance of recovery if he loses all taste for food. But his life need not be despaired, or if he enjoys food even a little. That's why one should cultivate a taste for God's name. Any name will do, Durga, Krishna or Shiva. Then, if through the chanting of the name one's attachment to God grows day by day, and joy fills the soul, one has nothing to fear. The delirium will certainly disappear. The grace of God will certainly descend. As is a man's feeling of love, so is his gain. Swami Brahmanji, direct disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, said, once the mind tastes the sweetness in the thought of God, there is nothing to fear. Fear. You are coming to Sri Ramakrishna, what fear can there be? We all of us are his children. Don't be afraid. The Lord doesn't care about externals. He sees our innermost heart. There should be no fear in approaching him. You have nothing to fear. Chant his name. For a few days it will be difficult. Then he will do everything for you. Have no more fear. You will realize great bliss. You will know what fun life can be. There is nothing to fear. What fear can there be for the Lord's children? If you chant his name, all your bonds will be broken and you will become fearless. Banish all fear and weakness. Never weaken your mind by thinking of past mistakes. Sin exists only in man's eye. In God's eye there is no sin. One glance of his and the sins of many, many births are wiped away. You have come to Sri Ramakrishna, hold on to him. You will have nothing to fear. These are the assuring words from Swami Brahmanji, how to overcome fear. How fear vanishes if one develops taste for God's name. Another direct disciple, Swami Chidananda, said, know for certain that those who are sincerely seeking God, the embodiment of truth, will undoubtedly be led by him along the right path. They have no reason to be afraid. Once the mind becomes absorbed in his lotus feet, there is no fear anymore. Always remember him and contemplate him. No fear. Don't be frightened. If you are dependent on God, then you will see that he is protecting you. Even in the midst of the fire of name and fame, he will always protect you. In this struggle for life, there will always be hope and fear. Life without struggles is no life at all. But if there are only fear and misery, they dwarf a man's growth. They do not allow him to progress. Another direct disciple, Swami Premanji, said, "Don't be afraid of anything. Call on Sri Ramakrishna with all your heart and soul, and he, out of his abundant grace, will grant you devotion, courage, and strength." If you understand in our heart of hearts that the Lord is the doer and you are his instrument, what can you fear? Have faith. You have taken the holy name of Sri Ramakrishna. You will be free. You will attain perfection in this very life. Have this firm conviction. Never harbor any doubt. Chant the name of the Lord and fear will leave you. Make your heart and lips the same. And the Lord, who knows the innermost thoughts of our hearts, will protect you. Fear, worries, anxieties dwell where there are hypocrisy, evil motives, and selfishness. If you have no ill feeling in you, then there is nothing to fear. You have nothing to fear, for you have held on to the pillar, the Lord. You have your goal fixed. If you have faith in Sri Ramakrishna, you will have no fear. You will remain undaunted in the midst of dangers and difficulties. You will experience and see for yourself the truth of this. Another direct disciple, Swami Chidananda, said, "As long as we remain true to the Mass, to the Mother, there is no fear that anything will go wrong. But the moment we forget her, there will be great danger. Therefore, I always ask you to think of the Mother. The Lord will make everything straight for you all. Those who have surrendered themselves to him have no fear." Why should you feel responsibility? Mother alone is responsible. You have devoted your life at her service. What have you to fear? Only be sincere and remember her always. They are fearless because they are unattached. So, not being attached is one of the methods to overcome fear. It is attachment that brings fear in so many ways. Another direct disciple, Adbhutanandaji, said, "As long as you have a body, you must experience disease, sorrow, fear, pain, and suffering. Anyone who wants to escape from all these troubles will have to hold on to God. His bliss removes all suffering. Do not fear, for someday the grace of the Lord will come to you." Sri Ramakrishna used to say, before evening you will receive a leaf plate. Have patience and wait. He who fears and doubts cannot make any progress either in the spiritual or worldly sphere. The mind is cramped. He alone is hero. He alone is a hero. He alone attains greatness who moves forward to realize the truth without caring whether the world is real or not. Another direct disciple, Ramakrishna, said, "It is rank foolishness to sit down in the midst of the mire for fear of falling in the attempt to get across. Do not forget the golden precept. Try, try, try again. Remember Bruce of Scotland, who, though defeated 6 times, conquered at last the 7th time. It is the greatest relief when we get rid of egotism. It is as if a heavy burden rolled off. At once all our doubts and fears, anxieties and troubles disappear." Swami Chidananda said, "This much I can say, he who dwells in God has nothing to fear from the world. He will be protected from all dangers and difficulties." Swami Vivekananda said, "For the sake of the devotees, the Mother comes with 10 arms and says, 'Shed your fears. You have made me your sole refuge, and I am therefore protecting you with 10 arms. Death will be powerless to come anywhere near you. It is for you that I hold a sword. We very often notice that people are in the grip of a terrible fright at the time of death. This happens because their minds are not absorbed in holy thoughts and are not centered on God. The glory of God's name not only saves us from all these fears, but also delivers us for all time from the clutches of death. So, this is the technique we have to apply to conquer fear. Sri Ramakrishna has given all these ideas to develop love of God, develop taste in the divine name, then you are sure to overcome fear. Page 806. Sri Ramakrishna sang, "In dense darkness, O mother, thy formless beauty sparkles. Therefore the yogis meditate in a dark mountain cave." Balram had arranged for Kirtan with Vaishnavacharan, the musician. Vaishnavacharan sang, "O tongue, always repeat the name of Mother Durga. Who but your Mother Durga will save you in distress?" When Sri Ramakrishna had heard a line or two of the song, he went into samadhi. He stood up in that ecstatic mood. The younger Narayan supported him. The master's face was lighted with a smile. Gradually, his body became motionless. His mind appeared to have gone to another realm. All the devotees in the room looked at him in amazement. The women devotees watched the scene from behind the screen. After a long time, he came down from samadhi, chanting the holy name of God. As the master sat down, Vaishnavacharan sang again, "O Veena, sing Lord Hari's name. Without the blessing of his feet, you cannot know the final truth. The name of Hari slays all grief. Sing Hari's name, sing Krishna's name." Then he sang, "O Veena, forgetting to worship Hari, I passed the days of my life in vain." It was afternoon. In the meantime, the small car of Jagannath, decorated with flowers, flags and buntings, had been brought to the inner veranda. The images of Jagannath, Subhadra and Balram were adorned with sandal paste, flower garlands, robes and jewelry. Sri Ramakrishna left the room where the professional musicians were singing and came to the veranda accompanied by the devotees. He stood in front of the car and pulled it by the rope. He began to sing and dance with the devotees in front of the car. The master sang, "Behold, the two brothers have come, Gauranga and Nityananda, who weep while chanting Hari's name." He sang again, "See how all Nadia is shaking under the waves of Gauranga's love." The music and dancing went on in the veranda as the car was pulled to and fro. A large crowd entered the house on hearing the loud music and the beating of the drums. Sri Ramakrishna was completely intoxicated with divine love. The devotees felt its contagion and danced with the master in an ecstasy of love. Afterwards, Sri Ramakrishna returned to the drawing room. Him and other devotees stroked his feet. Filled with divine fervor, Narendra sang to the accompaniment of the Tanpura. "Come, come, mother, dole of my soul, my heart's delight, in my heart's lotus, come and sit, that I may see thy face." Then he sang, "Mother, thou art our soul redeemer, thou the support of the three gunas, higher than the Most High. Thou art compassionate, I know, who takes away our bitter grief. Sandhya art thou and Gayatri. Thou dost sustain this universe. Mother, the help art thou of those that have no help but thee, O eternal beloved of Shiva. Thou art in earth, in water, thou. Thou liest at the root of all. In me, in every creature, thou hast thy home, though clothed with form. Yet art thou formless reality." He sang another song, "I have made thee, O Lord, the pole star of my life. No more shall I say, no more shall I lose my way on the world's trackless sea. Wherever I wander here, Thy brilliance shines undimmed. With thy serene and gracious light, thou drivest all the tears out of my troubled soul. In my heart's inmost shrine, thy face forever beams. If for a moment even I can't find it there, my soul is overwhelmed with woe. And when my witless mind strays from the thought of thee, the vision of thy face strikes me with deepest shame. A devotee said to Narendra, will you sing that one, O mother, thou my inner guide, ever awake within my heart? We shall stop here. Any question to ask? No. Chant the name of the Lord and His glory unceasingly. The mirror of the heart may be wiped clean and quench that mighty forest fire, worldly lust raging furiously within. Own name streamed down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its cup to knowledge of thyself, O self drowned deep in the waves of His bliss, tasting His nectar at every step, bathing in His name that bath for weary souls. Various are thy names, O Lord, in each and every name thy power resides. No times are set, no rites are needful for chanting of thy name. So vast is thy mercy, how huge then is my wretchedness, who find in this empty life and heart no devotion to thy name. O my mind, be humbler than a blade of grass. Be patient and forbearing like a tree. Take no honor to thyself, give honor to all. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord. O Lord and soul of the universe, mine is no prayer for wealth or retinue. The playthings of lust or the toys of fame. As many times as I may be reborn, grant me, O Lord, a steadfast love for thee. A drowning man in this world's fearful ocean is thy servant, O sweet one. In thy mercy, consider him as dust beneath thy feet. Oh, how I long for the day when an instant separation from thee, O Lord, will be as 1,000 years, when my heart burns away with its desire, and the world without thee is a heartless void. Prostrate at thy feet let me be, in unwavering devotion, neither imploring the embrace of thine arms, nor bewailing the withdrawal of thy presence, though it tears my soul asunder. O thou who stillest the hearts of thy devotees, do with me what thou wilt, for thou art my heart's beloved, thou and thou alone. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, and lead us from death to immortality. May all be free from dangers, may all realize what is good, may all be actuated by noble thoughts, may all rejoice everywhere. May all be happy, may all be free from disease, may all realize what is good, may none be subject to misery. May the wicked become virtuous, may the virtuous attain tranquility, may the tranquil be free from bonds, may the freed make others free. May good betide all people, may the sovereign righteously rule the earth, may all beings ever attain what is good, may the worlds be prosperous and happy. May the clouds pour rain in time, may the earth be blessed with crops, may all countries be freed from calamity, may holy men live without fear. May the Lord, the destroyer of sins, the presiding deity of all sacred works, be satisfied, for he being pleased, the whole universe becomes pleased. He being satisfied, the whole universe feels satisfied.